Right, hey guys, how are we doing? Back another video from AniNews. We got some cut content from that time I was reincarnated as a slime. We're going to find out what was cut out of the Demon Lord Banquet. We're just going to get right into this. Season 2 of this anime has just been
this was probably
sick.
one of the most well-adapted parts of TENSURA as a whole.
Yeah?
But in the parts that the anime did decide to skip on, there were quite a few interesting moments that I think a lot of people didn't know about. Things like the Battle of Minds before Purgis had even started, or just some more information behind the functionality of certain unique and ultimate skills.
Cool, yeah, I like knowing how abilities work.
I think the best way to end off this season of TENSURA is by providing the most complete story I can for its climactic finale. So, let's take a look at everything we missed from this Demon Lord Banquet of Purgis.
Awesome. Let's do that.
Starting with Rimuru's initial analysis of all the guests. There was a bit more to each of them than what we were shown in the anime.
Okay.
Key details that went to highlight certain aspects of their strength, personality, or characteristics. For starters, Guy was manipulating his aura in a way that was intended to deceive those around him.
Okay.
What Analyze and Assess had first picked up was an aura of someone who was magically strong but not entirely in control.
Okay.
Kind of like a powerful yet inexperienced.
Oh, yeah, she had all that
Rimuru,
potential and boom.
The analytical skills of Raphael made him realize that this was nothing more than a ruse.
Right, that's cool. He's making people believe he's organising it a certain way. Cool.
Likely in hopes of getting them to underestimate him.
That's clever. Cool. Don't make them realise how strong you actually are.
These actions alone that the battle was already underway. Sure, it may just be a battle of information right now, but hiding one's skills was a significant
knowledge is power, man.
So long as the others weren't fully aware of what he was capable of, Rimuru could bluff or feign ineptness in order to get into his opponent's head.
Sick.
Which was exactly what Guy was doing already. To expand on this a little bit more, what Guy was doing was essentially testing everyone. He was using his own manipulated aura to determine who was worthy and who wasn't.
Okay.
If someone only possessed the most basic form of Analyze and Assess, then they wouldn't be able to see past Guy's clever tactic.
Right.
That was enough to indicate that they wouldn't be worth dealing with in the first place.
That's class.
Now, if someone did actually have the ability to
look at that.
Then whatever glimpse they would have into the true depths of Guy's power would be more than enough to intimidate them into submission. It was a win-win situation in which Guy was in complete control over.
Clever man. Clever demon man. Clever demon lord.
Moving on to the holy giant Degrul. There was such a high concentration of magical energy emanating from his body that Rimuru couldn't say with certainty whether Veldora had more or not. It was as if he was looking into an infinite pool of it. Regardless of whether it was infinite or not, though, what mattered most when it came to power was how that magical energy was used.
Yeah.
So even if Degrul did possess a bunch of magicals,
like he needs to be able to actually use it like
how Guy did.
Yeah.
There isn't much to say about Valentine and his attendants, but the way his mate was manipulating her aura similarly to how Guy did was something that Rimuru knew no other Demon Lord would be able to pick up on unless they themselves possessed an ultimate skill. Then, with regards to Dino's conversation with Ramiris, we were given a bit more insight into her resurrection-based life cycle. Remember, her exposure to the immense auras of both Dragon and Demon had turned her into the continuously resurrecting period.
Yeah, she keeps coming back, doesn't she?
So, since her latest resurrection was only 500 years ago, both her spirit and body had degenerated to the current state that we see in the anime. It would take at least another several centuries before she would mature into what she was before.
Damn.
In any case, that was the trio who made up the second generation of Demon Lords. A group who we know have been around for at least 1,500 years or longer.
Fair time.
Well, their level of power certainly didn't compare to any of the others. In fact, Rimuru was pretty confident that both Xion and Benimaru now possessed more magicals than even Frey did.
Damn, they're doing alright. His team's doing good.
But, as I said before, that quantity didn't really matter if you didn't know how to use it.
Yeah, what's the point?
So it's very possible that Frey could possess a bunch of hidden skills which would make her far more powerful than what Analyze and Assess would indicate. Now, prior to Clayman's arrival, there was a cutscene involving the relay of information from Benimaru to Rimuru.
Oh, okay.
By using what's now known as a
soul circuit. Oh yeah, they share it. He showed it in that, what the abilities they have in that. Yeah.
It wasn't as complex as the soul corridor he had with Veldora.
Oh, okay, so that's what he explained. Right.
So, the gist of what Benimaru was
different. Okay, I was remembering that.
It was a completely one-sided victory in which Benimaru had displayed absolute dominance.
Oh, Sorry, I'm dead thirsty.
Not only were Clayman's forces wiped out with 1,000 killed and 3,000 wounded,
Boom.
not a single person had been killed from Rimuru's side either. Of course,
Whoa.
there was a bit more regarding how exactly Benimaru used
Rimuru's side is like...
but that's not really at all relevant to Walpurgis.
Don't mess.
What is the fact that this was how Rimuru had gained a general idea of Clayman's story. Before we get to the beginning of that whole dispute, though, there was an interesting realization that Rimuru had come to after using Analyze and Assess on the rest of the Demon Lords.
What was that?
When he had attempted to gauge the strength of Leon, he found that Leon simply wasn't analyzable at all.
Oh.
A phenomenon that went to indicate that he, too, possessed an ultimate skill.
Oh.
The instant
Only an ultimate skill can counter another ultimate skill. Yes, that is very true, yes.
He'd also come to realize that Guy was doing more than simply testing everyone. Yes, he was screening the room for powerful individuals, but he was also feeding fake information to fend off everybody else's ultimate skills. Rather than give
He's a clever man. He's a clever demon man. He's a clever demon lord.
He instead decided to display a fake reading. That way, even if the other person did in fact possess an ultimate skill, they wouldn't know for sure whether Guy really had one since he wasn't doing anything to counter it. Unless that person possessed an ultimate skill as intuitive as Raphael, then there was no way they'd be able to see that Guy was
Damn,
using
okay,
his
cool.
own ultimate skill. It was an ingenious tactic that Rimuru now recognized Luminous was using for that same purpose, making her the 4th person on Rimuru's list of demon lords with ultimate skills.
There we go.
Now, since these were everyone's ace in the hole, it made sense that they would want to hide it. But the fact that Rimuru had toned down his aura to give away 0 information was really all the information that anybody with an ultimate skill would need.
Yep.
Just the action of blocking anybody else's analysis was more than enough to indicate that he was using an ultimate skill to do so. They may not be able to tell what type of ultimate skill it is he had, but there was no doubt that he was now possession of one. Considering that Rimuru had 4, though, it really wasn't that big of a deal if he decided to show off one of them.
Yeah, because they don't have a clue about the others. That's like, yeah.
In which this could work to his favor. Really, it just depended on how Rimuru wanted to approach it. Moving on to the beginning of Walpurgis now. There wasn't much difference between the anime and the novels until the actual fighting began.
Right, okay.
So, if we skip ahead to the moment when Milim first launched her attack, we see that even with thought acceleration slowing down 1 second to the equivalent of 277 hours, Rimuru still wasn't able to fully dodge her. Had he diverted his attention to think about a counter even once, then there was no doubt that he would have left himself open. A fatal mistake that he knew he couldn't afford to make right now. Yes, infinite regeneration could probably save him 1 or 2 times, but the amount of match kills required for that was way more than he was
It's a lot.
That's why he decided to mainly focus on dodging. Now, while all that was going on, there were a few interesting
Wow, that makes her look so intimidating, like the size and
The
that.
fact that Guy had granted Beretta permission to call him by his name was actually indication that Beretta was strong enough to live up to his standards. It was a rare privilege that wasn't given out to just anyone. But even if Guy did recognize Beretta's power as acceptable, he was still ready to destroy her body right there had she fumbled with the question he was going to ask her next. If Beretta tried to avoid committing to serving only Ramiris, then Guy wouldn't have hesitated to kill her immediately, which was actually the outcome that he was expecting.
Okay.
When Beretta had gone to indicate otherwise, though, Guy was surprised to see that she didn't conform to the more standard nature of a demon. I mean, most, if not all, demons want to be recognized by their master. So, for Beretta to dictate that that wasn't actually the case, well, that just made her seem quite unusual in the eyes of Guy, leading him to ask the question about her lineage.
Where'd you come from?
Rimuru had actually gone ahead and run an Analyze and Assess on the 9-heads White Monkey and Moon Rabbit. What he found was that both were intelligent enough to support the other in battle with their own special abilities.
Whoa.
The Moon Rabbit would use some
That's so cool. I like the drawings in the manga, man. It looks good.
The Monkey would jump in to weaken their defenses. It was a combination of attacks that would eventually allow the 9-head to jump in and finish their targets off. Fortunately for Ranga, though, seeing through that basic attack pattern was far too easy for him. Him and his other commander-level Starwolves were more than capable of breaking down their opponent's team.
Yeah.
It did give him the upper hand in combat, but landing a finishing blow on any of the 3 magical beasts was proving to be quite difficult. If we fast forward to Veldora's sudden appearance now, there was one other reason for his arrival beyond that of wanting to finish
3 times 3 eyes.
As it turns out, Diablo had apparently
That
returned
I watched a few episodes of that years ago.
with him being back to protect Tempest,
It's about an
Veldora was
immortal,
now free
no, a
to
girl
leave
that like makes a guy immortal to like protect her, isn't it?
additional details
It's an
about
old
that,
one.
but
I've got a VHS tape somewhere of it.
transition
Sorry, anyway.
power is definitely worth especially since Rimuru thought it would take anywhere from a few months to a year to finish.
I didn't recognise it when I watched it in the thing.
Fight with Clayman. The reason she was able to resist his ultimate form of demon domination was mainly due to her skill Complete Memory.
Complete Memory?
This was the power to record her memories directly into her astral body, making her a type of demi-spiritual life form who could think via her soul.
Cool.
So, even if her brain and body were completely destroyed, her now conscious soul with all her existing memories could simply be placed into a new physical body, thus letting her cheat death whenever she wanted.
Wow.
Not only that, but it also made it so that any type of attack on her spirit or mind would be completely neutralized. So, she was pretty much immune to everything that Clayman specialized in. When it came to Clayman's second phase, Shion had made good use of her unique skill Master Chef to guarantee
Master Chef.
her intrinsic skill Ogre Berserker did give her...
I'm watching that show right now. I watch that every morning, actually, on Amazon Prime.
Weapons and defenses completely useless against her. While optimal action allowed her to read his flow of energy, certain outcome overwrote the very nature of the weapons he was holding, making them extremely easy to smash once they'd crossed paths with her Soul Eater sword. So, with the second phase pretty much over now, Milim's reveal came with a bit more insight into the steps that she had taken to full Clayman.
Yeah, because she was not under his control at all.
By the demon dominate magic was actually a lot harder than it was to outright negate it. And that's because magic like that would normally just bounce off of her. Not only that, but even if she did remove all her defensive barriers, she would still have to hold back all her natural force just so she wouldn't passively resist it instead. Only by holding back her own power and deactivating all her defenses was she finally able to make it seem like the demon dominate magic was working. Well, that plus all the...
Wow, so she did do clever stuff.
Now, the third and final phase of this Clayman boss fight was pretty much exactly as we saw.
It pretty much was a boss fight. The third phase
behind how Rimuru was utilizing his
just punching him. Punching him.
My explanation of it last video, I figured this would be a good scene to properly explain.
Right.
So, for thought acceleration to increase his perception speed by a factor of 1,000,000, 1 second would now feel more like 277 hours for him.
Jeez.
It was 11.5 days in which time would appear as if it was frozen. That said, this state of enhanced perception wasn't only used for Rimuru to take in his surroundings. He could also use it to mitigate the cast times of any spells that he wanted. Even if he was casting the most intricate spell ever conceived, the full day it would normally take to complete it setup would only take 1/10 of a second for Rimuru.
Right,
And
Jesus.
spell he wanted could be cast multiple times and still seem as if it was released simultaneously. Another aspect of thought acceleration that wasn't really fully explained was exactly what it meant for Rimuru to extend his skill's ability over to Clayman. You see, by making Clayman perceive things 1,000,000 times faster as well, the few seconds of punches he received in battle were actually more like a several dozen days of agony and torture.
Oh, whoa, okay.
Over a month, all Clayman could know and feel was absolute pain and terror.
Jesus.
It was a gruesome experience that had even made his hair start to fall out. By the time it was over, all that was left was the horrified husk of what Clayman used to be. But yeah, that's pretty much
Jesus, that is like a really horrible, wow thing to happen.
Taken word for word from the novels. So there wasn't really much we missed other than a few interesting tactics
Cool,
and
cool.
a couple extra details about
Seems to be that way,
the
isn't it? Some bits have just got tiny parts cut out.
Definitely one of the better adapted portions of the anime. But anyway, that's gonna wrap things up for my videos on Tensu.
Cool.
With the new season coming soon, the next series I'll be focusing on is Moshoku Tensi. So, if you want to see videos similar to this for an anime like that, then be sure to subscribe.
Yes! Moshoku Tensi stuff! Ah!
I've also been streaming a lot more on Twitch, so
Sick.
if you want to come hang out and ask me questions, then...
Because he said season 1 was quite close, quite true to the original source material, isn't he? So, we shall see.
This type of anime content, then you already know what to do. So, until next time.
Ciao. Class. Absolutely class. Oh, I'm looking forward to some Moshoku Tensi content. Oh, that's gonna be cool! These have been really good. All these videos for that time I was reincarnated slime season 2 have been boss. Really, really, really enjoyed them. Really enjoyed the cut content stuff, the abilities explained, and it's been awesome. Been absolutely awesome. So cool. Thanks to my patrons. If you want to have your name at the end of every video I upload, links in the description to the Patreon page. $1 a month is all that helps support the channel. Greatly appreciated. Thank you for that, guys, and thank you all for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe if you haven't already, leave comments down below. Let me know what I should watch and discuss it in future videos, and I'll see you guys, all you guys, next time.